Are in listen-only mode.
Good morning or good afternoon to everyone today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is one of the webinars we really like to do because it's all about us and it's getting the most out of your membership. Those of you that are here on the call today, you may have received a copy of your invoice for your annual dues for this year. So this is a great time to hold a webinar like this. Frequently we get asked, how many contacts can I have? How do I get more out of our membership? And so we're going to cover a lot of that here today. I have Mike Chadwick on the call today. He's our VP of Marketing. I have Ted Huffman here, who's also new to our board, and he's our VP of Operations. And Sam's here with us today as well, who's our president of our board. So they're here for any questions as we get further on into the presentation. We are hoping for a ton of questions, so please keep them coming. Our goal from this session, we are recording it so you can share it with your colleagues, but our goal is that you'll walk away with something that you didn't know so that you can use the form a little bit better. And of course, I'm hoping to get a lot of emails after the session today with people adding members and wanting to know how to do that, because you definitely want to add members. So a couple of housekeeping items, of course, as y'all know, and I have a lot on my board here today, Brian and Eric were unable to attend, but a big thank you to all of our board, especially for sitting in today on the call and answering your questions, and also planning for Connect 2015, and we're going to actually give you a sneak peek at the dates and locations in just a few minutes. And my contact information is up on the screen. Many of you know it and you email me all the time. I can't answer all of your questions, but I know who can. So send your questions my way and I will get you in touch with whomever you need to talk to. And of course, I'll do my best to answer your questions as they come through as well. If you've received your invoice and you have any questions about that, please reach out as soon as possible. So for those of you that are new to the group, and I know there's a few of you on the call that are, welcome. Our mandate here is really to get you to use Profit 21 better and to exchange ideas amongst ourselves. We are independent. We work closely with Epicor, but we are independent of Profit 21. And of course, as you sign up to the forum, you instantly get access, as you sign up to the user group, you get instant access to our user group forum. And it's a great place to troubleshoot, to network, to learn off other members. And we're going to launch right into that in a few minutes so you can see the forum live and see some tips and tricks that we use to get around and find what we're looking for. As you all know, through the forum, you can upload Crystal reports and SQL queries. You can download ones that have been uploaded by others. As a reminder for that, definitely use your Play database and test. If you have any questions, reach out to whoever started the post, whoever posted it. Ask them for input, what worked well, any pitfalls that you should be keeping an eye out for. And of course, as a reminder, you can add as many contacts to your company profile as you'd like. As a general rule, I recommend that every company has at least one person set up per department. That's at a minimum. Someone asked me the other day, how many people can we set up? And I said, as many as you want. They sent me 50 people. So definitely you can do that. Get the use out of the forum. Have people be able to ask their own questions and not have to go through one person at the company. There's no disadvantage to signing up a lot of people. And of course, a reminder about your signature line on the user group forum. Make sure it's got your full name, your company name, your phone number, and also your version and any add-on software you use. It really helps when people are answering questions to know what version you're on and what else you're using. So the more information you put into your signature line, the better. And I'm going to get Sam to jump in at any time if I've missed anything, but I can see, yeah, so far I'm doing so good. So I came up with my top 10. Those of you who know me have known that I've been working with the user group for well over 5 years. So these are my top 10 ways to get the most out of your membership. Get active on the forum. Ask your question, answer questions, participate in discussions that are going on, but get active on them. We have these webinars almost every week. So number 2 is attend them as much as you can. If you get a webinar invite and that topic doesn't apply to you and your job, forward it to someone who does. They don't need to be signed up to the user group forum in order to attend the webinar. They don't need to be the primary contact of the company to attend the webinar. It's open to as many people within your company as you'd like. You know, we find a lot of companies do a lunch and learn. So they set aside the time and they order in lunch, they sit in the boardroom, and they watch one of the webinars and all learn together. If you miss them, we do record them, and we have them recorded all the way back to 2009. So you've got a huge archive automatically available, and I'll show you where to find the webinars once we get into the forum. If you haven't been to Connect before, attend Connect. Last year we had over 75 user-led sessions, breakout sessions. It was our highest attendance. I believe we're in about the 460 mark. It is a great resource. It's a great way to network, learn from others. It's an amazing, amazing conference to attend. We have several local groups. So number 4 is see if there's a local group in your area or look to start one. We've got a user group, local group starting in New England, Lake Erie, I believe down in Fort Worth, and then also in Atlanta. We also now have one forming in Ontario. I don't know if we have any other in the works, but if you don't know if there's one in your area, reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with Eric. Eric's on our board. He's our VP of Member Relations and has really been instrumental in getting our local groups up and running and keeping them moving and excited and getting more efficient. So keep an eye out for that information. As I've touched on many times, because it's something that I really think is important, get as many members of your company signed up to the forum. It's the same cost. You pay the same annual dues whether you have 5 people signed up or 50. So if you want to know how to do that, we will get to that a little bit later in the session today. Number 6 of my top 10, as I quickly mentioned earlier, access the webinar recordings. We've got them all the way back to 2009, and I don't know how many there are. There's a real lot of them, but we cover from beginner to intermediate to advanced in a lot of topics. And if you don't see something covered, email me because I'm looking for suggestions constantly. We've already booked up January. We're starting to work on February, but we start planning our webinars a few months in advance. If there's a topic you're really interested in seeing more information about, just drop me a line and let me know what you're thinking. Of course, use the forum to network online, but we'll show you the peer networking area that we also have in the forum. And if you can't find people in your area, post a question and ask if there's anyone around. It's a great way to network locally, and also you can just network with people who also have similar sized companies or comes from similar distribution areas. We do have a couple of committees. We do have the Enhancement Committee, the Education, and the Web Committee. They've been a little bit quiet lately, but we are looking at especially getting the Education Committee up and running again. If you're interested in any of the committees that we have, please reach out to me and I'll put you in touch. Mike, who's our VP of Marketing, he kind of heads up all the committees, so he'll let you know when we're meeting next. We're going to show you, Sam's going to show you the Ideas Portal, and that's number 9, and that is to really get involved with the Ideas Portal. We'll show you how to use it and how to participate in improving and enhancing the Profit 21 product. And of course, number 10, we are mobile. So take a look at the Profit 21 forums on our mobile app. It works smartphone and tablet, and I have a BlackBerry that works on that too. I don't think anyone's ever tested it, but it does work. And of course, Connect 2015. This is the first announcement to the user group forum that it will be August 23rd to 25th, and this year it's going to be in New Orleans. We're still doing the planning for it. We're very excited about it. We've already booked our off-site networking event, which we'll tell you a little bit later. But for now, mark your calendars for August 23rd to 25th. We're starting to build our session grid. It's going to be bigger than last year, so make sure you set aside the time to come on down. So a few little items as you get started, and these are posted on the user group forum as well. We have done these sessions in the past, so you can always watch a previously recorded session about getting the most out of your membership. And we have a forum training session. We used to have a different style of forum. When we migrated over, we did create this training. You're welcome to look at that and look at the recording and learn a little bit more in depth of certain areas that we have here in the forum. And of course, if you're looking to contact the officers, you can simply reach them at officers@p21WWU.org. And of course, my contact information is there as well. Sam, I'm going to give you a minute to add anything to the slides I've just shown before we jump into the forum. Is there anything you want to add?
Not off the top of my head. Let's go ahead and if you want to pass control over to me, I can do the demo over here.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so I'm assuming that that most people have logged into the forums before. If you haven't logged into the forums, we've got a concept of the primary member from your company. And basically the primary member is the person who's responsible for your user group membership for your company. So instead of having to ask 50 people, hey, who's in charge, at least one person says, yes, for the user group, I'm the person in charge. And that primary member is who is able to, is kind of the gatekeeper for adding additional people. They're able to add them themselves, or if a non-primary person emails Cheryl and says, hey, please add me, then Cheryl is going to look and see who the primary is and check with them and say, hey, primary, is this person okay? And then get them added in. So let me show you that first, and then we'll come back over here towards the actual forum software. So what you want to look for is over here in the top right-hand corner, there's a link that says Manage My Account. And that brings up a whole separate window, which is basically support for the group and for the forum software. And I've got a couple of extra spots because I have admin access, but right here under contacts, not contacts, I'm sorry, under, let me go down again, under my account, it shows my information, and so you can fill that in, and that can help you to fill in your signature. And then under company profile, you can have some information about your company. And then under contacts, if you're the primary, then you have the add contact button right here. And here's where you're able to add contacts yourself. So these are all the people at TJ Snow who are set up, and then shows you who are the active people actually logging into the forums. We probably could do some more to get some other people active. Cheryl gave a good suggestion earlier of talk about one person per department. To me, a key person to try to get involved being active is, if they're not already, is your IT person, and then also your accounting person. And we'll talk about, when we go back over to the forums, how you can get posts delivered to your email about a specific topic and not have to come out to the site and narrow that topic down to just accounting related things for your accounting person, or just inventory related things for your inventory person. So again, if I needed to add a contact, I'm the primary, so I can have the button, and I can just say add contact and put in the person's contact information, and they're going to get an email with the login information. Let's go up here to the if I go to the forums right here, the forum subscription is where you can choose, if you want, you can choose to have all emails in a particular forum backup. The forum, the overall forums are divided into different subject groups. And so we have a general category, we have an announcements category, we have one about webinars, accounting, and so forth. You can choose to receive emails whenever a post is made in one of these forums. You can also choose to receive emails when a certain person posts or when someone replies to a certain topic, But if you're interested in everything that's inventory related, then this is the easiest way to choose to receive emails in that category. So you can come in here and say, okay, I always want to get announcements, and I'm also, if I'm an accounting person, I'll get announcements because who knows what I'll learn, and I'll also sign up for the accounting right there. So you check both of those, go down to the bottom and hit submit, and the next time that there's a new post, you will get an email with a link, with the actual text from that posting, as well as a link that will take you to the entire topic. One trick is in your email client is to set up a rule and take all of those posts and sort them off into a separate folder, and then they won't clog up your normally email during the day. But when you have time, when you have a little bit of downtime, then you're able to go look through those emails, scan the subjects that people are talking about, and if a subject catches your eye, then go and read it. When you click on an email, again, you're only going to see that particular posting from a thread of postings, but it has the link right there that you're able to come directly to the website and see the entire thread in one place. You're also able to, we have a reply by email feature. So if you receive those postings by email and you want to include yourself in the discussion, then you can just reply directly to that email, and it will get brought back in and posted to the website. And that allows you to post from a mobile device or really any device without even having to log in to the forum software. The other thing to talk about over here is the peer networking. And if Cheryl talked about how there are local groups in various parts of the country. We're trying to encourage more local groups. But if you're interested in are there other people, other P21 companies in your state or in your region, then you're welcome to come over here to the peer networking. And easiest way is to find companies, and then to search by state. So let's say I live in Tennessee. Let's see who else is in Tennessee. So I choose Tennessee. I'll come down here and I'll find. And then if I come down to the bottom, then it shows me these are all companies that run Profit 21 and are members of the user group that are here in Tennessee. And I'm able to click on a particular one and see more information about that particular company, some contact information, and I can make contact to them and say, hey, we're both IT guys. You want to go have lunch and talk about, see if we've got some common issues, or maybe the accounting people want to get together, or maybe there are enough of you in a reasonable radius that that you want to contact Eric and try to get a local group going. But this is a great resource for finding people, especially if it's a very regionalized issue that you may be working with. Or you're also able to look at not just by state, but by industry type. So you could do a search and look for other companies that are doing medical related and contact them. A lot of people like to be contacted or like to be contacted through the forums, or even if it's a question that is a medical related question, instead of going and finding a bunch of companies and sending them individual emails, people would rather that you make that posting in the forums, because you never know who you didn't contact, who's going to reply and what they're going to say. In addition, it really helps people to say, oh, look, they posted with this question, these people have responded, these other people have responded with this other perspective. Well, let me chime in with my third perspective, or something like that, rather than it being, and that makes it more of a community discussion rather than just a discussion between two people back and forth. And that's again, one of the advantages of the user group. So I've closed the Manage My Account section, and we're back to the main forums. And this is the page where you get dropped when you just log in from the main website. Here you've got some different sections. You have the general section, and then you have individual subforms under that. You have the Profit 21 software section. You have the different subforms under that. We talked about how to subscribe to these topics or these subforms from the other page. One that people oftentimes ask is, hey, where are the Crystal reports, or where's SQL code that people have posted? A lot of it is down. If you've got to scroll way on down here. We're 3/4 of the way down the page. Here's the file catalog section. And the file catalog is where people have spent time to share either scripts or reports or queries that they've written. And instead of, oftentimes people share things two ways. One is somebody will ask and say, I've searched all over the forums, I haven't found where somebody's done this before. Has anybody developed a query that does blah? And somebody else will reply and say, yeah, I have, here you go. And we'll attach it right there to that reply. And that's great. And you can find those using the search functionality, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there's sometimes where you may have developed something and you say, you know, I bet somebody else is going to need this or something similar. In which case, instead of putting that up in the main forums, if you put it down here in the file catalog, it does become a little bit easier to find later on because there's a whole lot less traffic down here. So an example of stuff is if you've been to Connect before and enjoyed the presentations, many of the presenters share their presentations here under the Connect/Summit/Insights presentations area. And so here are some from 2014. Here's one that Susan Holliday did on alternate allocation. And you're able to come and download that presentation and look through it and get the benefit of it. I know in addition to the webinars, these old presentations are a great source of information for learning about various subjects. But I encourage you to, if you have something that you think is worth sharing, pick the right category. Let's say it's something inventory related. So come into inventory files, choose post a topic. Really encourage people to give their posts a really good subject. They can be the subject. So for searching later on, it's really helpful to have a clear descriptive subject for your post. So, and then you come down to the message portion, and you can describe why you developed this query and what it figures out, and then you're able to do the attach button right here, and then go attach whatever file it is and upload it to the site. And that will, that's the easy way to post. Down at the very bottom is the actual post button. And it's a great way to share information and to help people out.
Can we just go back 1 second, Sam, about posting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Regarding posting a question, if you want to just jump into any one of them. There's two ways to actually post especially replying to a post. I don't know if you were going to get into that next. So if you were going to, yeah, just pick one. If you're going to post something with an attachment, then you really need to use the post reply. The post reply button. If you're just contributing, you can just do quick post, which is you can type, free text where Sam's got the cursor right there. But if you wanted to include an attachment, you have to use the post reply, which gives you that option.
Yeah, so it's, everybody's clear. I've scrolled down to the bottom of a thread where a lot of people have posted. If I want to do an attachment, you notice there's not an attachment button right here. There's an insert link and there's an insert image, but for whatever reason, there's not an attachment button. It's not something that the forum software company has included. In order to get the attachment button, I have to come here and say post reply, and then it gives me the full reply window, no longer showing me the whole thread up above, and now I have the attach button. So it's a little quirk. We are beta testing the new version of the forums. We do have conversations that go back and forth between Robert, who maintains our website, and the company that designs the forums. I can't remember if that's one that they have fixed or changed in the new version or not, but they have fixed several of the quirks that we have with the current forums in the newer version. We're still waiting for them to fix a few more. Let's talk about searching for a minute. Let's go back up to the top here. When you search, I'm inside the forum general discussion right now. You have breadcrumbs to show you that you're inside of there. If I do a search, it will search inside the general forum only because I'm inside of there. I really encourage people to not use the regular search box right here. Even if I'm out on, if I say home and I'm out here to the main thing and I'd be searching all of the different forum categories, I still encourage you not to use the regular search. The reason is that you'll see in just a minute. I encourage you to use the advanced search. And so the reason that you want to use the advanced search is right here. Down in the options, you want to change it instead of saying any keyword to say all keywords. And that's key if you're using more than one word in your search. So, and it means that you want to be a little bit more careful in which words you put in there. But if we just, let's see, what do we want to search for? Let's search for the P21 user group WorldShip integration and information about that. So I'm going to type in WorldShip and integration, and let's just start with that. And I'm not going to change this because I'm going to not be so smart here at first. So let me do a search, and just right off the bat, we can tell that there are 50 pages worth of results. There is, we probably do have one of these very first items is probably something that we're looking for, but we also, I mean, anytime the word that integration is used, we're also going to get posts. So the second post has WMS integration. Well, we're not interested at all in warehouse management systems if we're looking for WorldShip integration. So, and that happens a lot if you put in more than one word. So really encourage people to come in, use the advanced search, and change this to all keywords, and then do your search. And now it's only going to show me posts with WorldShip and integration in them. And so now I no longer have that post talking about warehouse management system integrations. So that's a key hint in the searching world. I know one of the questions that was asked beforehand. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, one other thing, Sam, is watching the last post there on the right-hand side. No, if you're listening.
Yes.
I always find that it sorts oldest first, so I have to click on that, which refreshes it and sorts it the most current first.
Yep, and you can change that beforehand right up here in the sort area, but it's very, as you said, it's very easy to change it afterwards by hitting the column header there.
Now, we did have someone raise their hand, so I'm thinking they want to be unmuted to ask a question. Do you want to do that right now? Okay, just one second.
Let's go ahead.
Hugo, I see that you have a question. Oh, and you've lowered your hand. Sorry about that. Maybe that was done by accident.
He's running away.
He's running away. I did have someone email me, just send me a message here saying that they don't have the ability to add a post. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down your email address, and I'll take a look at the settings for you individually once we're done the session. It could just be something I need to switch over for you.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, Sam.
Nope, you're good. I'm trying to remember where I was headed next. There are some things where you can star topics, you can like topics. You can do those if you want. I don't really get into that too much, but you are able to here under topic options, you can add it to a favorites if you want to make it easy to find later. You can also print this topic. In the past, there were issues with printing topics. I'm trying to remember if they're fixed in this version or whether that is fixed in the version that's coming out. So let's try a print real quick. I'm just printing to a PDF file just to test things. It's looking good. Yep, it is fixed in this version. So that is good. For a while we did have issues with printing not being agreeable, which was unfortunate.
I think where you were going to go a moment ago was knowing where to make your post, so which forum, if you had a question
yes.
and you weren't sure where it should go.
Okay, so if you've got a question and you're not sure where it should go, first thing you should do is you should always search. Not to necessarily figure out where to put it, but to figure out if somebody else has already asked the question and answered the question. And it's okay to go back to a relatively old post and say, hey, has anything changed on this? I know in some user group forums it's frowned upon to open up an old post and talk about it again. For us, we'd rather, the majority of the people would rather update an existing post with a little bit new information rather than reinvent the whole thing from scratch and say a bunch of things that have already been said before. And so that's the first thing is, one is search. The only ones that you are not able to reply to is these are the this section right here is the listserv archive. These are all the emails from before we switched over to the forum. We were on an email listserv system. These are all those emails were brought over and imported into the system, so they are part of what gets searched. But if I go into one of those, then you see the reply button is not available. And if you wonder why, you can scroll up to the top and say, oh, this post is in the listserv archives. That's why it's locked down. And the reason those are locked down is there was a many, many years of history that was brought in at that time, and not all of the contacts still existed with the group at the time that they were brought in. So we, the persons, if you were, not everything was able to be imported perfectly, and we didn't want to create confusion if people started replying to those. But if you go through, don't normally, you wouldn't have a reason to post in the announcements. General discussion is kind of the drop-all, the catch-all if you're not able to find a spot that does make sense for you. But a lot of, if you scroll down through, you'll see a category for almost everything. Here's accounting related, here's CRM, inventory, orders, here's upgrade related. Very often there's a thread in here that's, and let's open it up. Very often there's a thread in here saying, hey, here's this latest version. Is anybody on it? It was just posted. Is anybody having any issues before I go to it? And if people do have issues, then they're sharing what issues they found. And then you can make the decision as to whether or not you want to go to that version. So that's a really handy forum if you're the one who's pushing those updates out. Epicor add-ons is for things that Epicor sells, but aren't necessarily part of the core product. Systems administration is more for discussing the IT-related things related to Profit 21. Dynachange rules and portals and designer related. We have an implementing Profit 21 forum. Really encourage people who are new and just implementing the software to read a lot of the answers in here, but also to ask a lot of questions. And encourage you, if you've been through implementation, to stay subscribed to that forum, and as people come along asking questions, share the wisdom that you, or share some of the hard knocks that you learned through implementation, so that they don't run into those same issues. The IT networking issues, there isn't necessarily Profit 21 related. There's a fair amount that all the companies running Profit 21 share a fair amount of common needs, IT related. And so if you are thinking about what antivirus you might want to get, or what phone system that you might want to change to, there are discussions about all of those things in this area. And then we've got a third-party software area, which is talking about things that are not sold necessarily by Epicor, but to interact with Profit 21. So Crystal Reports, Bartender, the Latitude Warehouse Management, Rubber Tree, have a vending-related forum under here. It's relatively new, and we probably should spread the word about it more. And then there's other third-party software that if there's enough activity about a particular subject, we'll break it out into its own separate little forum. And then here we are down to the file catalog that we talked about again. Going down a little bit more, here is the local and regional user groups. And so these three regional groups have their own forums. They're able to post some announcements and things like that, and talk amongst themselves to a certain extent. And that pretty much covers, if you read the subjects, you pretty much can figure out where to put your post. If there's not one that really fits, then put it in the general forum, and if we need to, we'll move it over to the right place. One of the moderators can. Cheryl, what other questions have you got?
No other questions. Just before we get over to the Ideas portal, if you can just swing over to my webinars for a minute, please. Just two things I wanted to just show there. Thank you. At the top, the very first post is the codec. Sometimes when you're looking at or reviewing a recorded session, you're having trouble with it. You can hear it, but you can't see it, or you can see it and you can't hear it. Click on that. You'll see the GoToWebinar link for their codecs, and you can download it directly from them. That just seems to fix the problem almost every time. If you're still having trouble, just check with your system admin to make sure there's no security settings that may be enabled on your local, but that usually fixes it. Also, you'll see that all the webinars there are broken down by track. So after every session, we do post the webinar recording in one of those categories that it best fits. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, that's where you see the webinar announcements. Oh, there's something in there that probably shouldn't be. And in there, if we had a webinar, we would then post the recording there. And if there's a PowerPoint related, we would also add the PowerPoint to that presentation. The one that Sam's showing right now hasn't been held yet, so you'll just see the invitation there right now. Also, if you want to just pop up to the calendar, Sam. Thank you. This is a really quick way to see what webinars are coming up when. Next week we don't have one on Tuesday. We do have one on Thursday instead. Carolyn is doing, she's amazing, and she's doing a closing the fiscal year 2014 and getting prepared for 2015. She's doing a session. She's available on Thursday. I wasn't able to do it on Tuesday, but you can quickly see what webinars are coming up by looking at the calendar. And I think that's all for the forum. Did you want to jump over to the portal for a little bit?
Sure. Let's last thing on the forums, on the main page, if we look over here on the right-hand side, right below the search, is this this Epicor Ideas Network feed, and that kind of leads us into the Ideas Network. Epicor maintains the Ideas Network in order to have one spot to collect ideas for enhancing the software. And the user group in the past maintained a list, and we'd vote on it yearly. When Epicor switched over to Scrum-based Agile programming, things were happening so fast that we needed to be able to, we couldn't be voting more than once a year. So we switched everything over, including the ideas that we were maintaining, over into this software to allow us to try to rank things and maintain a list that they could go query on a regular basis. What I wanted to mention was this ideas feed. These are the subjects of the ideas that have been posted recently, and you are able to go to them by clicking on the link. If you go to them clicking on the link, it does end up being a slightly complicated process to log in. And so let's go ahead and go through that process so that you see what it's like. I clicked on the link because this is the same. Encourage people, if you come up with something that is really important, to share the link in a post and say, hey, I'm having this problem. Epicor told me to submit an idea. Here's where I've submitted it. Here's the link to the idea that I submitted. Do other people have the same problem? Maybe they already have a solution, or if they really are having the same problem, they'll go vote on it over on the Ideas Network and comment on it. And Epicor, we help them to take notice of that and prioritize things. So again, this is the same process if you clicked on one of the links in the forums or click on it from here. It's a little bit of a two-step to get there. So first screen you come to, it says P21 customers, click here for a login. So you don't log in there. That's the first part of it. And then I was already logged into the customer website. It would normally bring you to the customer website and have you log in there. And then after you logged in to the customer support website, then it would bring you here to this Ideas Network page, and you'd have to click on Access the Ideas Network. So that's the first takeaway, is in order to view things on the Ideas Network, you do have to have a login to the Epicor customer support website, and that is something that your system administrator will be able to set up for you if you don't have one already. So we'll click on Access the Ideas Network, and it opens up the Ideas Network. And the Ideas Network is not perfect, but it does work. The not perfect part of it is the biggest complaint is the voting method. They've set it up so that Epicor support website, you have, similar to the user group having a primary contact, on the Epicor support website, there is a super user who is the highest privileged person on the Epicor support website. They are the only person who is able to vote on the Ideas Network. And the reason for that is to try to keep one company from signing up 50 users and having all 50 users go vote for that one idea that's important to that one company, boosting the points way up just because they have a lot of users that they can sign up. So by restricting it to one person per company, that keeps that vote inflation from happening. So that's the biggest complaint about the Ideas Network. We really have, Epicor is open to suggestions as to how to fix that. Really haven't come up with a great idea yet for a different method that still keeps things fair. And if you are out there listening and have any great ideas, we should start a topic about it on the user group and try to come up with something different and propose it to them. But the Ideas Network, once we're in here, there are recent ideas. So these are the ones that we saw part of on the user group website. There are top ideas, and then there's also a search section. Let me refresh the page here. Oh no, still has some sort of an HTML error in there. The one thing is similar to the user group site in that you can choose to have posts emailed to you. You can also choose over here to have you can choose to have new ideas emailed to you. So if you are interested in seeing what new ideas are posted, then you can, this box right here is key, where it says Stop Watching Community. That means that I'm already set up to receive new emails every time an idea is posted. If I click on that, and it says just Watch Community and doesn't have the checkbox anymore. So if I come in, I log in, I don't have to be system administrator to go and view the ideas. I just have to be, and to comment. I don't have to be the systems administrator. I only have to be that person to vote. So I can come in, I can log into my account, I can say Watch Community, and then from then on, whenever a new idea is posted, it's going to send me one via email, and I'm able to see that, including a link to come out and comment on it. You are able, there are categories in here, and I'm wondering if the categories were, let's go into one of the ideas, see if they show up then. I'm wondering if their HTML error right here is hiding those categories. It may be, but they're categories similar to, they usually show up right here on the left-hand side. They're very similar to the groupings that we have, but they're pretty much broken down by module so that you can go in and if you're interested in inventory items, you can look at all the ideas for the inventory module. If you're interested in production orders, you can look at all of those. You're able to do a search, and the search is fairly good on here. The search gets triggered. You can do the search up at the top, the community search, or you can start to enter an idea, and it will actually drop you into a search to try to help you from entering a duplicate. Let's just go into one of the top ideas. Let's go down a little bit. Here we go. So, and you can see in here, here's customer merge is one of was a very highly voted idea that's coming out. It says it's tagged as in development. It's got 12 comments. If we clicked on this, we can actually see the 12 comments that are in there. But this is actually going to be released in 12.15. So example of where Epicor does pick up a lot of the highly voted ideas and does act on them. This email tracking is generally available and shows that, hey, that came out in 12/12, so on and so forth. So again, the EPICORS Ideas Network is it's a tool that you can use to make your issue visible to EPICOR when it is something that's not necessarily just a bug fix, but it would actually be an enhancement to the software and that they're not willing to immediately make. And then again, the other takeaway is to this insert a line and order entry. That's another one that's already available. But if this was a new one that I had just posted, you're able to vote for it by, if you have voting privileges, by doing the up arrow, down arrow, but you want to do the up, and then you want to take that link right over there and copy that link, go over to the user group website, put it in a post, and tell people what the idea is and why they should go spend a minute and vote for it as well. So those are the two takeaways. We do sit down with EPICOR. We review a lot of these ideas. We help them to weed out the duplicates as a user group. And so if you have something that is very important to you, really encourage you to get it on the Ideas Network and to share it on the user group site to raise its visibility. Cheryl, what kind of questions do we have out there?
You know what? Everyone's really quiet today. I think you're getting everything and covering everything. Just as you're going back to the forum, a couple of tips. And I know we're working on fixing this in the new version, or it's been working on. Frequently, I type my messages in Word and copy and paste them into the user group forum. When you do that, it just doesn't like the code. That word pops in there, and a lot of your words end up together. So one tip is to type it in Word, copy it into Notepad, take it from Notepad, and put it into the form if you're going to do it that way. Those of us that have longer posts tend to do that for spelling mistakes and whatnot. The other thing I wanted to mention...
And that one I can confirm is fixed in the new version.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
If you could also go into my profile, Sam.
Yes.
Thanks. So this is when you first get signed up. You end up with a temporary password. One of the first questions I always get is, I'm never going to remember the temporary password. So if you go to the Login tab, you can change your password from what it is to something you're actually going to remember. So you can definitely do that as well. You can also use this area to take a look at the forums that you're subscribed to and the topics you're subscribed to. And you're also able to follow specific people. I have a lot of people who have marked me down, so every time I post a webinar, they get the notification. But if there's someone that you find is always contributing great content and you'd like to be notified about what they post, you can use following them.
So let's just come in and say, okay.
Let's follow Brian. Brian's here. His mic just isn't working.
Yep, so if I hover over Brian's picture right here with his post, then I can follow him right there. I can also send him a message through the forums. I can also send him an email through the forums. I suggest people use the email option because that doesn't require the person to log into the forums to know that there's a message waiting for them. A lot of people, though, and really encourage it, and we'll go back in a second to the profile, really encourage people to put their full contact information in their signature. And the reason for doing that is if you post something where sometimes you just can't explain something typing, or you're willing to explain it, but you're not willing to type it all out. And it's a whole lot easier to give the person a call and say, hi, are you seeing this or that? And have that conversation in real time rather than back and forth across the forums. That's a a real good reason to have your contact information there. It also helps for people to understand which company you're with and what they do and what part of the country you're in. And so all of that signature information, you're able to set up here under the Signature tab back under the profile. And I just have my standard signature from work I dropped in there. And Cheryl encouraged people earlier to keep your version information up to date. I don't do a great job of keeping which version of 12 we're on. We're on 12, but that changes depending on what version is out. When I do a post, I'll say, hey, I'm running version 12 point blah, 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 and then it's captured in that post. The signatures, when you go and update a signature, all of your old posts going back in time get, if somebody goes and views one of those, it will have that new signature that's just updated too. So if something is version specific, I encourage you to mention the version that you're running right there in the post at that moment, because then you're not having to come change your signature all the time. But mention some of the modules that you're using so that people have a little bit of background as to what type of setup you have. But there are many times where a quick phone call to somebody can save a whole lot of typing, and it's even more discouraging if somebody doesn't have their email address available and you need to send them an attachment or you need to send them something, and you go and look and their email is not available. You go and look at their contact information and email is not set up for that, and you say, I can reply to them, but they sounded really desperate, and I'd like to be able to help faster, but they're not helping me. So that's an encouragement to put some information in your signature. The other is as we build community, as we meet as local groups, as we come to connect, as we see each other at Insights, it's great to be able to put a face with a name and spend a couple minutes, find a picture that, if people squint at it, looks reasonably like you, and post it here under your profile. And again, that really helps with those of us who are visual people to say, I remember that person, even if they don't necessarily remember your name or the company that you're with. And then it helps when we see each other at those events to be able to reconnect.
Sam, I have one question for you while you're here, but one thing just before I get to that is regarding searching, and frequently the email I get is, I've searched and I can't find the answer to my question. Yep. And so what I recommend is ask the question. There is no reason not to post a question. If you've done a search, you can't find what you're looking for, then ask. We've all asked questions. Everyone, especially when they're getting started, feel free to say, hey, I'm new here. I just started in this role, or this company is a new member. Here's a question. This is something we're struggling with. And pretty much there's someone that has struggled with it or is also struggling with it. So just reach out if you can't find it. Question for you, Sam. Do you have any suggestions for selecting and managing favorites?
I don't use the favorites. It may be easier to use the bookmarks in your browser than it is to use the favorites on the website. Honestly, it's not a feature that I've really spent a lot of time on or put a lot of credit into. It may be a well-developed feature, or it may be only half-baked.
You can choose instead, and I know if you go into one specific, like go into general discussion or something for me, you can at the top, sorry, I've got all this GoToWebinar stuff I can't see, in that topic options on the right there, adding to favorites, that just means that you're going to get, if you click on that and go through,
Yep, sorry.
it's okay. I keep thinking it's my
Well,
own screen.
yeah.
You can choose to have it subscribe by email, and then you'll start getting them directly by email. It's just a different way of getting to where Sam was showing you before on the other part of the software. This is another way just to get subscribed by email, and then anything in that string you'll keep getting or within that topic
Right.
area. Now, if you go to, so if you go to my profile, you'll see there that you've got all your favorites listed, and if you don't want to follow that anymore, you can just unclick that checkbox. Sorry, I'm making you jump everywhere.
No problem. So here are the favorites here in the profile. And so I've got the forums, and they all show up right here. And so this is the same information that we saw over on the management, user management side of things, or the manage my account side. But it strings into 2 pages here. And then you can have specific topics that you can subscribe to as well. And so here's some specific topics that I've subscribed to. There's a typo right there. But again, the favorite topics, if you reply, if I remember correctly, if you reply to a topic, then it automatically favorites it, which means that you will get a reply via email if somebody else replies to that same topic after you. And there have been some tweaks done to make sure that you don't get duplicate emails in that process. But that duplicates haven't been a problem for me. Any other questions, Cheryl?
No, we don't have any other questions, and we've taken up an hour of everyone's day so far. We do hope that you've taken something new away from the session today, and that's what we're here for. So feel free, if there was something we didn't touch on that you have questions about, you can email me, you can email any one of the officers, and of course we can always walk you through it. Every once in a while I jump on and do a go-to-meeting with a few people at different companies to show them how to use the forum better. So it's our goal to make sure that you're getting the most use out of the forum as you can. We only briefly talked about Connect for August of this year. More information is going to be coming out about that in the next few months. You'll start to really see us build the session grid and descriptions of the classes, and you can sign up for classes. If you haven't attended Connect before, make sure you touch base with us if you have any questions about whether or not you should, who should attend and whether or not you should attend. We'll let you know who should attend from your company, what sessions would benefit them, and that's what we're here for. So Sam or any one of our board members that are here right now, any final thoughts before we wrap up for today?
No, Cheryl, just really appreciate all the users who came. I hope this was helpful to you. And if you have more questions, feel free to email Cheryl or us, and we will get back to you as quick as we can.
Well, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mike. And I know Brian and Ted are here as well. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to Eric, who's here in spirit but was just so busy today he couldn't take time away. Before we end, as I always like to kick these webinars off, the board of directors, the ones that are here today, as well as Eric, who's unable to make it today, they do this in addition to everything else they got going on. So whether or not it's their family or their job, other outside commitments, they always make time for the user group. So thank you to all of you that are here. I appreciate the work that you put in. A lot of people don't see the hours you spend on the phone with me as we plan for Connect, plan for sessions like this. So thank you to all that are here today. But to everyone else, have a great rest of your Tuesday. If you have time, come on out to the Thursday webinar next week. Check the calendar to see that. This webinar has been recorded and will be posted to the webinar area that we showed you a little bit earlier. It'll probably be in the General tab as well as the Master tab. And of course, you're more than welcome to email me and I'll send you a copy of the recording link as well. So thank you all for coming, and we will talk to you all again soon. Bye, Sam.